Good evening, everyone. I'm Retro Hoodie, and welcome to my first top 10 list. A few rules before we get started. Um, one game per franchise, so there are no repeats. And two, be nice. I don't care if you feel that I'm wrong, in my opinion, or I don't care if you like other games better. That's all cool. I mean, we're not here to be rude to one another. We're just here to enjoy video games. So it's better to debate on them intelligently rather than just yell at each other. Okay, now that we've all got that squared away, I'll start my top 10 best video games ever. Number 10, Joe and Mac. This game is on here pretty much just because it's what got me into gaming. I played it on my channel. There's a link in the video. There's a link to the video in the description below. But me and Ziacone have played it. We played it since we were kids. I don't have it anymore. We called it Joey, Mac and Joey, rather than Joe and Mac. But it's basically what got me into gaming, so that's the reason that it's on this list. Number 9. Devil May Cry 3. I had played Devil May Cry 1 and 2, but I never really connected to the games very much. I mean, sure, they were badass games. They were really cool. But I felt disconnected from the plot and from the characters. Then Devil May Cry 3 came out and showed what Dante was like in his younger years. Before he had been portrayed as the strong and silent type, the kind of loose, kind of angry kind of guy, and very, very stiff and rigid in his fighting. But in Devil May Cry 3, they portrayed a younger Dante, where he's more this hard rocker kind of guy, loose cannon, does what he wants, kicks ass, cocky as all hell. By the way, just a side note, DMC, horrible remake of the series. Okay, yeah. So, and on top of that, Devil May Cry 3 had Lady, it had Virgil, it had all kinds of new stuff, it had all kinds of fun things, it was awesome. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, shirtless Dante. Yeah, I'm gonna go now. Number 8, Sadecki. Sadecki Forever will be, to me at least, a hidden gem on the original Xbox. I played it when I was like 13. Actually, I might have been younger than that. I'm not sure. But it had a wonderful open world. It had amazing characters that I connected with so much. Loved these 4 to death. And it was just a really good story altogether. Now, the problem with that is it was made a long time ago. So I would like to see a sequel, or at least, at the very least, a remake of this game, because it needs better graphics, it needs all that stuff. That's the only fallback, is that the graphics are pretty bad. Also, can we get Buki a boyfriend or a girlfriend or something, please? Because, seriously, Tal has Ailish, Elko has Tilly, Buki's the 5th wheel. I mean, maybe she doesn't want to go out with someone, but I really feel like, she could use some romance as well. Yeah, I'm gonna move on. Number 7, Borderlands 2. I much preferred Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 1. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Handsome Jack is so awesome in this game, or maybe it's because I like the characters a lot more. Like, I like Maya more than I like Lilith. I, um, I definitely like Axton more than Roland. And Zero, don't even get me started. He speaks in haikus! Which, that's something I actually just noticed this week. On top of that, Krieg is awesome. Gage is adorable. And I just have a lot more fun playing Borderlands 2 than I ever did 1. Sorry. Number 6, Dissidia. Dissidia is sort of a standalone game. I don't really feel it falls into the Final Fantasy franchise. But it takes, for those of you that haven't played it, because I found it on a whim, it's for the PSP, and it takes 10 characters from 10 heroes and 10 villains from the first 10 Final Fantasy games, which I only really feel that there are 10 Final Fantasy games. Past 11 and up are just ridiculous, and they need to stop producing. They should make more games with the characters we care about. But anyway, it takes Warrior of Light, Firion, Onion Knight, Cecil, Bartz, Cloud, Squall, Zidane, don't get me started on Zidane, and Tidus, and puts them up against Garland, the Emperor, Cloud of Darkness, Golbez, Exdeath, Kefka, Sephiroth, Ultimecia, Kuja, and Jetcht. And you can play as all 20 of those characters. You have to beat the story mode first, I think, to get the villains. But either way, you can just battle people. You can play through the story, which is actually pretty good. That's all I really have to say about that. Okay. Number 5, Enchanted Arms. I said Sadecki was a hidden gem, and I also feel that Enchanted Arms was a hidden gem. I wanted to play Final Fantasy VII so bad as a kid, but my father sold it before I could actually play it. My father's kind of a dick. So, when we no longer had a PlayStation, we only had an Xbox, and he was getting me an Xbox 360 for Christmas. So he found this game, Enchanted Arms, and told me it was like Final Fantasy, which it really isn't. But anyway, Enchanted Arms is still a great game. I actually have yet to beat it because it's kind of difficult at times. But I like the characters, even the ones that may or may not have died. Yeah, all I really need from a game is to connect with the characters a lot. I'm sorry. Number 4, No More Heroes. This game, I bought it on a whim, and it was pretty damn funny. It starts with a fourth wall It starts with a fourth wall break, and then transitions into a beat 'em up sort of smash game style, running through hallways, fighting men in suits, and finally getting to a boss fight right off the bat. And the boss fights were awesome. Travis Touchdown, the main character, was awesome. And it was definitely really funny. And it's funny because Travis Touchdown seems sort of like a loser bum kind of guy. But when it comes down to it, when it comes to the fighting and the killing that goes on, he really takes a honorable approach to it. Like, there is definitely more to Travis Touchdown than meets the eye. And that is what puts No More Heroes in the number 4 spot. Number 3, Chrono Trigger. If you've played this game, you know why it's on this list. Where else are you going to find a cave woman, a robot, and a frog swordsman fighting together? On top of that, spoiler alert, if you choose to not fight Magus, that's how you pronounce his name, right? It's been a while. Anyway, if you choose not to fight Magus after another spoiler alert, Chrono dies fighting Lavos, then you can get Magus as a playable character. One of my favorite boss fights out of all games I've ever played, and I get to play as this guy. That's so cool. Especially considering how badass Magus is. Even the God of War is just like, oh, this guy could teach me a thing or two. Number 2, Final Fantasy IX. Now, I know I put Dissidia in there, but like I said way back then, I feel that it's more of a standalone game, to be 100% honest. So that's why Final Fantasy IX is in here, because there's so much that you can do. The characters sorry, excuse me. The characters are extremely relatable. And the story with Kuja and everything, boss fights, I mean, yeah, some of the boss fights were kind of ridiculous. Some of the fights in that game were kind of ridiculous. But it's still such a great game. And Zidane. That's all I can say. Number 1, Resident Evil 4. I am a huge fan of Resident Evil. My 3 favorite video game series are Legend of Zelda, Silent Hill, and Resident Evil. Resident Evil 4 was the perfect merger of combat and puzzles. Originally, the Resident Evil game started off as more survival-oriented and more puzzle-oriented, where you didn't have to fight the zombies and creatures until you got to a boss, that is. You had to survive. You had to use your weapons to sort of push them back. Not always kill them, but you had to just sort of push them back and sort of just run away. Now, Resident Evil 4 didn't have zombies. It introduced Las Plagas. So I know they're not exactly zombies, but that was a really cool step to take, and it made for a really enjoyable game. Now, I mean, they did mess up Resident Evil 5 pretty bad, and Resident Evil 6 was atrocious gameplay-wise. But Resident Evil 4, that was the peak of the Resident Evil series, and that will forever be one of the best games of all time. Well, that was my list. Did you agree with what I said? If so, like the video. Disagree? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to be doing more top 10 lists, so if you want to hit that subscribe button and see some more, then I will look forward to seeing you all again. So, I'm Retro Hoodie, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!